Oh yeah, it's Friday, y'all, but the regular crew is in the house, led by your boy. You know I'm back because there's a lot to discuss. Max, Molly, I see baseball trades going on. I see NBA draft stuff going on. I saw Russell Westbrook end up becoming the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron has done it again. Or has he? All that and more to discuss. Like I told you, the crew's in the house. But today, let's get it.
A goal is to win another championship.
That is the goal right now, and that is the motivation right now.
I ain't choose the game chose me. I'm a champion, I need some trophy.
This would definitely be a trio to be reckoned with.
LeBron James delivering AD dynamite.
Westbrook, he just doesn't stop.
I'm a champion, I need some trophy.
First take on a Feel Good Friday. We have so much to get into today, and I promise that is not an exaggeration. Blockbuster trade, the draft, Alex Smith live, and of course, Stephen A. Smith is back.
What's
all
going
things
on,
NBA.
y'all?
So good to see
My
you.
head was going to explode yesterday. Like, there was too much stuff happening
Well,
at
I
once.
kept thinking, like, we got the draft. Stephen A. hasn't talked about Aaron Rodgers, and then more and more keeps happening.
The Yankees
2
and
hours
Dodgers
isn't
pull
enough.
off blockbuster trades. Like, everything was
There's
happening.
a lot.
I will confess, I watched, did a great job yesterday, and I was just watching. And I said, you know, I'm just going to sit back and chill.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to. And I said, it's just nice just to sit back and watch. I don't have to work today.
Yeah.
And then I remember, damn, I got to get up tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm here.
But
But
it's
you got
NBA.
some sleep, I can
So
see
you're
that.
all about it.
I got some sleep.
That's good. Much deserved. All right, guys, so let's go. Russell Westbrook going back to Cali to team up with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and wear the iconic purple and gold. So here's how it breaks down. Russ and a pair of future second-round picks are heading to L.A. Washington's Hall is centered around a trio of players that includes Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Max Kellerman.
Yeah.
What is the impact of the Russ trade to the Lakers?
They have a legitimate answer to the Nets right now. Like, sometimes it's this easy. They had 2 of them dudes. The Nets had 3. The Nets had the only real big 3. The Suns look like they might for a sec. The Nets have 3 future Hall of Famers, 3 guys who could score from anywhere. The most skilled at their size you could ever ask. History of basketball. Who's at their size more skilled than any one of those 3 guys? The Lakers had no shot. If everyone was healthy this year, it would have been Nets and Lakers. The Lakers would have been thrashed by these Nets. Now they got 3 dudes. Russell Westbrook's one of them dudes. And let me say something. People are going to get caught up on how it all fits together. That is not the issue here. The issue is bring in the talent. Do they need shooting? Yes. None of these guys are shooters, especially not Westbrook for his position. But can you find shooters? You think guys won't play on the vet minimum for this team? Of course they will. Whether they wind up with Kevin Love or they figure out a sign and trade with 3-team deal, they still have Schroeder, Talen Horton-Tucker. Those guys aren't great fits. Could they still swing something for Buddy Hield? Who knows? They'll be just fine. And one more thing about Russell Westbrook. Every single year, 3-4 years now, he's on a new team with new teammates. First half of the season, we're all like, Westbrook's finished. He's no good anymore. Because he's trying to figure things out because contrary to popular belief among some, he is a team player. He's trying to figure out how to help the team. Second half, he's figured it out. He's learned his teammates. He knows his role. And then in the second half of every year, we go, he's having an MVP caliber second half. I expect the same thing to happen this year. Stephen A., if the Lakers are healthy, this is a real series if the Nets are healthy. It wouldn't have been before. It is now.
Well, that's really stepping out on the limb. It's a real series. Really? That's all you got? Because let me tell you something. That's obvious, Max Kellerman. There's no question that it's going to be a series if they were to meet. There's no question that it's a formidable big 3, and the Lakers deserve a boatload of credit. Rob Pelinka, way to go in terms of assembling this and pulling this trade off, which obviously has happened. And I think Russell Westbrook is worth it. We all know he's a superstar. We all know he's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. We know at the age of 32 going on 33, he's still electrifying. He's still the most athletic point guard in the history of the National Basketball Association. And the fact that you got him with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, Lord have mercy. It almost makes it to a point where it might be, we might all need to be medicated for depression if we don't get this finals. Brooklyn versus Los Angeles next season.
I think it's going to happen.
If you
I really do. I really do. This year was odd.
But even injuries would disappoint it because we're all salivating for it now more than ever. Okay. But this has to be said, and I got to be, let me make sure I'm very careful. Because I suspect the Westbrook family might be watching. Let me make sure I'm very clear with what I'm trying to say. There will never, or there will never have been more pressure on Russell Westbrook for this upcoming season. This is the most pressure that he has been through in his career. Now, to be fair to him, he doesn't give a damn. Russell Westbrook don't care about much. He a rough rider. He's pig-headed. He's strong-willed. Whatever word, phrase you want to think is appropriate. He don't give a damn. But from the outside world looking at him, more than ever before, his resume is going to come into play. The triple-doubles. Remember when I was controversial, Max and Molly, because I was talking about I didn't care about a 35, 21, and 14 performance. People misconstrued. I'm hating on Westbrook. No, I'm saying that Russell Westbrook is so phenomenal. Russell Westbrook is such a talent that we don't want to see you going home in the first round. We know you could do that. The point is we already done. Think about it, Max. When did we ever think we'd get to a point where the triple-double didn't matter to us? It doesn't when it comes to him because it's ordinary. It's what he does. He's a walking triple-double. We got that part, okay? Now it's about my brother. Kevin Durant left, and 4 times in 5 years you went home in the first round. 5 times you've been home. Once you went to Houston and you lost in the second round your lone year there. These are your teammates. I'm going to remind everybody again. Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, Reggie Jackson, Victor Oladipo, Paul George, James Harden again, Bradley Beal, and now LeBron James. And that talent that is Russell Westbrook, surefire, first ballot, undeniable Hall of Famer. By the way, box office, you walk through the turnstiles to see a brother like that.
Yeah.
You walk through the turnstiles to see a Russell Westbrook.
Everything he has every night.
Russell Westbrook's got over $200 million and nobody blinked because we know he deserves it. We know he deserves it because he gives it to you every day. He never cheats the game with his effort. But at some point in time, we're going to be like, where's the chip? And this is where it gets real dicey for him. Because you were with Kevin Durant and you were taking shots people felt Kevin Durant should have been taking. Then you had your time and you became Mr. Triple-Double. Then you had Harden, who's your boy. And Harden and you ended up not wanting to play together. You go with Bradley Beal, who's one of the league top 2 leading scorers in the league, him and Steph Curry last season, okay? And you with Bradley Beal. Of course, you got to the first round, but at the time that, everybody was upset with what I said, they were 13 games under 500 in the Eastern Conference. So now you've overcome. Now, all of that's aside. You wanted out of D.C. They gave it to you, and they put you in your hometown. This is a UCLA product. This is L.A. This is an L.A. dude. Any kind of hype, any kind of energy, any kind of fervor that we have seen from Russell Westbrook is expected to elevate even more significantly. So when you look at all of those things and the fact that if LeBron James alone was your teammate, they would have expectations. But now you got LeBron and Anthony Davis. There has never been, ever in the career of Russell Westbrook where the eye of the storm will be on him, because we're all going to be looking to see how he messes, how he ingratiates himself within their system, playing with LeBron and AD. And I believe they go into the finals. I believe that if they were healthy anyway, but I certainly believe it now. But right now, you're going to have people looking at the Lakers, and they're going to look at him.
They might win the finals, too. I mean, the Nets are better. The Nets are better scorers, better pure scorers, all 3 of those dudes. But the Lakers are better defenders. Mm-hmm. And the thing about Westbrook is, of all those teams you just mentioned, he was only on one. Mm-hmm. Stephen A. on one that had a chance to win a championship. That was the 2016 version where the Cavs beat the Warriors and the Thunder almost did. That Thunder team probably should have won the title. They should have beaten the Warriors and the Cavs that year. They didn't, and partly that's Westbrook's fault. That's the 1 year. Otherwise, he's never been on a team that was better than all the other teams. He is now. He's on a team now. So your point about pressure is right for Westbrook this season. But who's under the most pressure on that team, as usual? LeBron James. He is chasing Michael Jordan. He has made no secret of it. Chasing Jordan. He is getting up there.
Got to catch Kobe first.
He's
Need one more, catch Kobe.
Yes, but the consensus is LeBron is ahead of Kobe on the all-time list.
Okay.
He's never going to get ahead of...
We agree with that.
Right. He's never going to get ahead of Jordan on the all-time list if he doesn't have more championships. He's chasing the GOAT, right? As Kobe did. And almost got there. LeBron almost got there.
Well,
Stephen A., he has Westbrook. He has AD. LeBron has the gravitas to make Westbrook come into the fold. Of course the pressure's on LeBron.
Listen. It's not a negative thing. It comes with the territory, and it's a compliment to them that we're saying the pressure's on them. Because there would be no pressure on them if there wasn't a strong belief that they could get it done. So let's be very clear about that. But the biggest thing that I want to say is this, Max, why I respectfully disagree, is LeBron James has a championship already in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. Now, he might be chasing Jordan, and there might be some individual pressure that he's applying to himself and the haters out there that want to give it to Jordan or whatever, even though I'm a Jordan guy, you're a Jordan guy, and I don't consider us haters. I mean, God forbid I say LeBron's number 2 all time. Stop the presses. What an incredible insult in the history of basketball. There's only one player that I have better than him. I mean, my God, just stop the presses. But the point is this. LeBron already has a chip in an LA uniform. And we expected them to be back this year if it were not for the injuries. If Russell Westbrook comes there and they're healthy and they don't find a way to get it done, I mean, listen, you're gonna recognize Russell Westbrook's individual greatness, but there's gonna be a lot of questions about team. Remember, he wants to play his way in Houston. He wanted to play his way. He told Houston that. I want to play.
It worked when they did.
Would you guys take the Lakers right now?
I'm talking about to depart Houston. He was telling them, I want to play my way. I don't want to play Harden's way. I don't want to be his sidekick. I want to do what I do. When he arrived in Houston and Mike D'Antoni was coaching, I'm just going to do what I do. Russell Westbrook is known as a guy who says, I'm going to do it my way.
Two things. One, LeBron is the one player in the league who might have the gravitas to bring Russell Westbrook, the gravity to bring Russell Westbrook into the fold. That wasn't KD. They were contemporaries, and Westbrook had a very strong personality. And at times you could squint and who's better. That's LeBron is he's the guy challenging Jordan. But there's a guy challenging LeBron right now, which puts extra emphasis on what's going on, and that's KD.
Right.
Yeah.
KD is crewed up. KD's never won. KD's never won a title when he hasn't had basically an unfair advantage.
Right.
It looks like he has one again. Now LeBron has just enough where we can look at both of these guys and say, no excuses. Whose league is it?
That's a fair argument about LeBron, Max, if we're talking about the finals has arrived and now it's Brooklyn versus LA. I'm saying before you get to that, just coming into the season, there is no question that there is more pressure on Russell Westbrook than it is on LeBron James. That's how I view it. That's how I view it.
Westbrook, a lot of times in the first half, because he has a certain way of playing, it takes the team and him time to get used to each other. But the second half, Westbrook's always balling. Think about Houston. Think about Washington.
Nobody said
always second half. Oh my God, look at this guy.
Nobody said he isn't balling. What we're talking about are final results. When you are the point guard, you're not just responsible for how you play. You're responsible for how the team plays. Now, if you're a scorer, you're a big man, something like that, it's on you. But when you're the point guard.
Is there
Okay, hold on. Final results. So right now, who would you be taking? Are you taking the Nets or the Lakers?
Nets at this moment.
I would take the Nets.
But I don't think the Lakers are done. I think there are veterans. Like, let's keep an eye on Kevin Love. Let's keep an eye on Buddy Hield. Let's keep an eye on shooters and vets who might take the minimum. Not that those guys would, who want to join a team like that.
Max is right.
You know, they have to play with shooters.
Max is
You're
right.
both taking the Nets, even with Russell Westbrook.
Here's a more direct statement. With Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, the Lakers' total squad, as presently constructed, would not beat a healthy Brooklyn Nets.
Probably not. Not at the moment. But I don't think they're done. I don't think they're done. The Nets just added 5 draft picks. Give the Lakers a minute to see what they do.
Again, of course, that's a given. But like I've religiously stated on this show, Kyrie shot 92% from the free throw line last
Yeah.
year. James Harden shot 86%. Kevin Durant was around 87, 88%. Religiously, they're 85 or better. LeBron James shot 69% from the free throw line last season and has been struggling the last 3 years from the free throw line. And over the last 2 years, specifically this past season, Russell Westbrook shot 65% from the free throw line. Playoff basketball, the game slows, okay? The open court opportunities aren't there the way they are during the regular season. And when you get into a half court set, which LeBron is an absolute master at, but then you go to the free throw line, let me assure you, there is no way in hell the Lakers will shoot better from the free throw line than the Brooklyn Nets. And that matters. Even though the Lakers might get to the line more because they're bigger and they'll attack the basket more.
The difference is this. The Lakers have, of the big three, the Lakers have better raw athletes, size, strength. The Nets have more skilled more skilled players scoring the ball. At his size, Kyrie Irving scoring the ball, you can argue, is the best who ever did it. Same thing with Harden, same thing with KD. So you have three of the GOATs scoring the basketball at their size, history of the game. That is tough to beat. The Lakers' athletic ability, size, defense, and kind of basketball IQ, all that stuff that they have probably isn't enough if they're both healthy. But no other team is going to stand in those teams' way. That series is going games, and I need to see what else the Lakers do. Because, Stephen A., if they plug in two knockdown shooters on this team to go with those three, who knows?
One more thing before we move on. How much more longevity does this give LeBron James when we're talking about time to win championships?
Well, I'm not thinking about it from that standpoint, Molly. I'm thinking that both teams, Brooklyn and L.A., have 2 years. Now, don't mind you. All three.
Why Brooklyn?
All three. Well, I'm just saying 2 years to show what they're going to do. In other words,
I thought you meant championship window.
I think the league is on the come up, and I think that if you don't win a title within the next 2 years, you ain't going to do it. As presently constructed.
There's one more team.
That's how I view both teams.
Okay.
Both teams.
There's one more team that we have to keep our eye on who could throw a monkey wrench, and that's the Warriors, because they have Clay coming back with Steph. They have Dre. And they have so much other stuff. Like they've been shopping it. They've been trying to do something, haven't been able to do it. But Wiseman, Wiggins, multiple lottery picks that they wound up using, Poole, they have a lot of stuff. So we got to keep our eye on them. But barring some big move by the Warriors, it's just the Lakers.
I don't know how many times I've had to say on this show. I mean, you ain't going to find a bigger Klay Thompson fan than me. And if Klay Thompson is healthy and Steph Curry is healthy, the Warriors are going to the conference finals.
But it ends there if they don't make a move.
A minimum. That's how I view the Golden State Warriors. That's how significant I think Klay Thompson, a healthy Klay Thompson, is to that squad. Klay Thompson with Steph Curry, they're going to stand in somebody's way. And with the Clippers, remember the Clippers gave the Brooklyn Nets a run for their money, even though it was regular season games. You know why? Because, again, you got cats that could score like Kawhi and Paul George, but they make free throws. The Lakers with Russell, Westbrook, and LeBron James, even though, again, I've seen LeBron James make clutch free throws, okay? And I've seen Russell Westbrook make clutch free throws. But when you're in the 60 percentile going up against cats like Brooklyn or before that Golden State, because we all know Steph Curry and Klay Thompson ain't missing those free throws. We all know that.
It's a different style of team. But if Steph and Klay, when they were in their primes, before injuries or anything like that, and Draymond, couldn't get by LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love, they ain't getting by LeBron, AD, and Westbrook.
You can say that.
We'll have more on this, guys.
I'm not saying that. I'm not ruling anything out with Steph and Klay. They that real.
You know who will ask about this? The Jet, Kenny Smith. He's going to be here with us, Kendrick Perkins. So we'll get into all these NBA topics again a little bit later.
Steph was a baby back then. You keep forgetting that, ain't
Clay? He was a unanimous MVP.
They're grown men now.
Still to come on First Take, we have Stephen A. and Max breaking down their winners and losers from draft night. Which teams came out hot? Which teams came out not so hot? Plus, we have yet to hear Stephen A.'s reaction to that bad man Aaron Rodgers in his press conference. Infamous one that will go down in the ages. Cannot wait to hear Stephen A.'s take on that. Stay here.
Other great quarterbacks across the last few decades have not gotten the opportunity to just be in conversation. makes you feel like you're important, you're respected.
Aaron, was there a point over the last few months when you seriously considered retirement?
Yeah, that's definitely something I thought about. I continued to find joy and happiness in things off the field. However, there's still a big competitive hole in my body that I need to fill. I know I can still play, and I want to still play, and as long as I feel like I can give 100% to the team, then I should still play.
Do you expect to be a Packer next year?
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I think things are in that direction haven't really changed. I just have to focus on this season, and I love this team. I love the fans, and the opportunity to play on Lambeau Field has been a dream come true. To be in my 17th season is really special. I'm just going to enjoy this season like I did last year, have the right perspective, and then make decisions at the end of the season.
Aaron Rodgers was as raw and real as we have ever seen a Hall of Fame caliber athlete. He spoke for 30 minutes off the cup, yet he was thoughtful and prepared with his comments. You can see them all online. But Stephen A. Smith, you weren't on when this happened, and I was dying to hear your reaction.
I was proud of him. I really, really was, because it was consistent with what I've been saying for over a year. The feelings that he expressed, that he talked about, were instigated with things that transpired in February in the aftermath of them losing in another NFC Championship game. There were actually things that took place seasons prior to that. He didn't feel the need to elaborate on that, but I know for a fact that those things happened, and the manner in which he described the treatment that he received was consistent with what had transpired years earlier. And the point is, enough was enough. Now, he gave an abundance of names. And if you look at Brian Gutekunst, the general manager, there's no denying that for the most part, some of the players that Aaron Rodgers threw out there, Max Amali and, Randall Cobb and others, we know that for the most part, Gutekunst did the right thing. There were a couple of misses, no question about it. But nevertheless, for the most part, he made the right decisions. What people were not getting still, even after listening to Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't talking about it in a literal sense. Oh, I wanted them to do this and they didn't do that. I wanted them to make this move and they let these guys go. He talked about the respect, the treatment of players by the organization. And he used those guys to crystallize what is a huge, huge problem with the Green Bay Packers organization. And they got their spin doctors, leaking information to folks in the media. This is not true. And, damn right, we got a problem with it, but we're going to let it slide because we don't want to make this bigger than what it is. No. Where the hell is smoke, this fire? Or as my favorite saying is, I have my own saying. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it ain't a damn mongoose. Okay? It's not a damn mongoose. You don't mention all those players. You don't get that specific with the general manager and the president and everybody else in the building, basically calling them out with one detail after another to crystallize a bigger point, and you making that up. This is what his problem was. And so when people look at him and they say, let's go down a list of players that Aaron Rodgers mentioned because Green Bay wasn't wrong about this. No, you're missing the point. It's not about whether they were right or wrong. It's how they treated him when he wanted to simply have discussions, when he wanted to be involved, when he wanted to have some input. I was personally told that one year Aaron Rodgers walked into their office. This is before Gutekunst was the general manager. Walked into their office, the Ted Thompsons and the Mark Murphys of the world, both were there. And they looked at him and said, you play, we run this organization, get the hell up out of here. They were that dismissive of him. They were that disrespectful of him. Now, you take that into consideration and ask yourself, do you tolerate that if you are that kind of a talent, that kind of a star, and you make that kind of contribution? This is a lesson for all of corporate America. This ain't just the Green Bay Packers. This isn't just the NFL. It's applicable to the NBA. It's applicable to Major League Baseball. It's applicable to ESPN and Fox and CBS and everybody else. It's applicable to Wall Street. It's applicable to anybody. When you have superstars, and you tell them to kick rocks, that your opinion doesn't matter, the second they get an opportunity to let you know, they sick of your ass. They don't want anything to do with you. They're going to do it because you have summarily dismissed them. You don't do that. That's what the Packers did. When people look at their literal moves, you're missing the point. We can look at Gutekunst, we can look at Matt LaFleur, we can look at Mark Murphy, and we can look at abundance of decisions that the Packers organization has made and say, you know what, it makes perfect sense. Makes understandable sense. Okay, now get to us how you couldn't sit down and say, come here, Aaron. We love you, we respect you. This is what we're thinking. Here's why. Take a look at this. As opposed to saying, shut up and play. And all of those folks, when you saw social justice issues and stuff like that, which have absolutely nothing to do with this instance, but the parallel was, particularly in the sports world, how you had people who were being summarily dismissed and not treated with the respect that they had earned. And Aaron Rodgers said, I've been in this organization for a while. I've carried the load. I've achieved this. I'm a multiple-time MVP. I'm a Super Bowl champion. And I thought that with my years of service, I would at least be treated with some respect. That is the issue. And that's what everybody needs to remember. There's a certain way to treat people who produce for you. They didn't do that for him.
Yeah, Rodgers said, I'm with some outliers. He's obviously an outlier.
Yeah.
A couple things. Sure. First of all, careful sending that message, because remember the honeymooners, Ralph Cramden, when Ed told him, you march into your boss's office and you tell him.
That's true. That's one of my favorite episodes. That's one of my favorite
He lost his job that day. Yeah, right. You better be Aaron Rodgers.
You better be Aaron Rodgers.
You can't be Ralph Cramden.
You can't just be one. You can't be
a top producer, regardless of the round.
The other thing is, there's a large cash reward for anyone who can train a mongoose to walk and quack like a duck. If you can do that, I'll give you a large cash reward.
There we go.
Okay, here are 2 points for real. And you weren't on the show when I made these points, so I want to say them again. Tom Brady blazed the trail here, Stephen A., because it's not like Aaron Rodgers just started feeling this way. And I got to give Brady credit for his leadership and decision-making as a quarterback. That's how he's able to compete with guys like Rodgers and Mahomes, who are much more talented. Brady's decision when he was like, I'm reducing what you'd have to pay me so that you can surround me with better talent. You don't know how to spend my money. What are you doing? Like, I don't have receivers, and you can't draft, right? Then he makes the decision, I'm not going to let them dictate the end of my tenure with the Patriots. I'm going to dictate the end of my tenure with the Patriots. Rodgers saw that, obviously saw that, and said the same, like, look what they did to Brett Favre. I'm not going to let them dictate the end of my Packers career like they did to Brett Favre. I'm going to be the guy making the decisions, right? That was Tom Brady blazing a trail and Aaron Rodgers following. I got to tip my cap to Brady, because you could see even with the candor that Brady speaks now in public, Rodgers is doing that at the press conference, too. I got to tip the cap to Brady. And the other thing is, Stephen A., what you're discussing, Gladwell in one of his books, I think it was Blink, talks about...
I told you the other day, you didn't remember that his first name was Malcolm.
No, I did. Malcolm Gladwell. No, I know his name is Malcolm Gladwell. I don't remember the name of the book.
Okay, I got you.
Because he has a whole series of them, But Blink, I think this
I read Blink.
Yeah, so did I. And he talks about malpractice lawsuits with doctors and how they're not correlated as much with result as they are with bedside manner. People care, as human beings, we care more about the way we feel we're treated sometimes than even the bottom line. And that's what Rodgers has been reacting to. Hey, Gutekunst, you might be a good GM. I don't like your bedside manner.
Well, that's the reason that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, in terms of their situations, should never be mentioned in the same breath. See, we keep thinking about Gutekunst and Mark Murphy. And then when we go to Tom Brady, we think about Bill Belichick. No, sir. The owner for the New England Patriots is Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
He loves that man, Aaron Rodgers. He reveres him.
Tom Brady.
He loves Tom Brady. I'm sorry. He loves that man. And he treated him like it. And when Tom Brady decided that he was leaving, Tom Brady got in his car and drove to Robert Kraft's home to talk to him and to let him know, it's time and I just want to go. If Tom Brady had said, I want to stay Robert Kraft would not have given a damn what Bill Belichick had to say. He would have said, Tom Brady's staying.
See that relationship.
So what I'm saying is, Aaron Rodgers, there's no relationship like that with the people at the top.
The issue
you might
with
have
the
a
Packers,
Belichick issue in New England with Tom Brady, but it wasn't a Robert Kraft
issue with the Packers, and give Kraft some credit too. Ownership can come into play. Who owns the Packers?
I agree.
Right? No one owns the Packers. The fans own the Packers.
Murphy's
the CEO.
Yeah, but
it's different than owning the team. There's a difference.
But he runs the team, and he has the power to treat Aaron Rodgers with the respect he deserves. And we saw his intent because weeks ago when before Aaron Rodgers spoke to the media and Mark Murphy was out there giving his spin on it, we saw how he was trying to address situations. And all it did was illuminate Aaron Rodgers' point.
Right, sure.
That's all it did.
Sure.
That's all it did. No. They don't deserve, let me be very clear, they don't deserve him. I'm mad that he's staying in Green Bay. Well, I'm not talking about the fans. Yep. I'm not talking about his teammates. I'm talking about the organization. They don't deserve.
Did you catch
Aaron
when he almost said, I love the fans?
Yes.
He almost said organization, stopped himself and said fans.
Yes.
But 1 year can go by fast, and he does have a great team, and then he can be out of there.
And he can win a Super Bowl.
He could win a Super Bowl, and then he can pack his bags and be gone.
He could win a Super Bowl. They could see the error of their ways and move on. But as far as I'm concerned, they showed who they are. Mm-hmm. Time and time and time again. And when you do that, you don't have to excoriate them, but you can say goodbye.
Gutekunst still doesn't get it, by the way, because even when he spoke after Rodgers, he was like, well, we brought up Cobb back because that was for Aaron, but he had a certain kind of stubbornness and arrogance there and a lack of humility where what he needed to say was, look, Aaron Rodgers is a special player. He clearly doesn't like the way he was treated. I have to look myself in the mirror and deal with that. Of course, we want his input going forward. He has made his point, et cetera.
No, he kind of doubled down. He doubled down a little bit and said, he did give input. We just essentially didn't use it.
Let's remember the platform we have right here on this show. You can book it. Throughout the National Football League, we're going to be talking about more and more and more of these stories because Gutekunst is a product of an NFL culture that has dominion over players in an alarming fashion, especially to the players themselves. They hate power that these teams wield. And my thing is that it's one thing when you're the owner, that you doling out all of these dollars. You certainly making it, you getting a return on your investment, but you doling out all of these dollars. You take these risks. You spend your money. As much as we might abhor it, if you're the billionaire that owns the team and stuff like that, you sort of understand the arrogance. You might not like it. You might wish they would do better, but you understand it. But to be a GM or a president, you're an employee, okay? You're getting paid less than the players in a lot of situations. You don't have to go out on the field and perform.
Maybe that's part of their beef.
And I understand that you're the one watching hours upon hours of tape while they're not the ones doing that. They perform. But to summarily dismiss them and to be uppity towards them, like Gutekunst came across. Yeah. I'm not saying he feels that way because I don't know him, but he looked that way. And you just know that this is the kind of stuff that happens in the National Football League. And these players see Aaron Rodgers, and you watch the ripple effect. Aaron Rodgers is going to have just as much of an impact on these players as Tom Brady did.
As long as they're not Ralph Cramden, Stephen A., because the Gotham Bus Company's still going to run without most of these dudes.
That's right.
But without Aaron Rodgers, it's different.
Yes. Yeah. You can't treat guys like that.
Outliers,
not outliers.
Yeah, he used that word. All right, from one staple franchise to another, will the Cowboys return to glory this season? My goodness. Cannot wait to hear Southern's. All right, y'all, here's a look at the top 10 picks in last night's NBA draft. First of all, congratulations to all the draftees. Dreams coming true. The Pistons took Cade Cunningham first overall. Cunningham is the third Big 12 player to be selected first overall, joining Andrew Wiggins and Blake Griffin. Kendrick Perkins, who was all over the draft coverage last night, doing an excellent job, joining us now. Big Perk, where are you? There he is. There he is. Little sleep, but he's ready to go. All smiles. I'll start with you here, Stephen A. Who are the draft winners?
Well, listen, I think that I love this kid, Jalen Green, that the Houston Rockets picked up, big-time scorer. incredibly athletic. I'm a huge fan of Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga. Was just a freshman last year, got a lot of heart. Was all-state player, player of the year in football and basketball when he was in high school, and obviously went to Gonzaga last year, helped them get to a national championship game before Baylor ran over them. But I love this kid. I love the fact that he's going to be in Orlando. And, of course, I don't mind the fact that my Knicks got this kid, Quentin Grimes. I was a bit worried when I saw that the Knicks were picking guys that had defensive prowess but were a bit challenged offensively, etc. I like, damn it, Tom Thibodeau, I don't need all of that. You got enough defense. I need some shooters. You understand? This kid,
then the Nets took your guy.
This kid, that's right. I know they did. Yeah. But this kid Grimes out of Houston, I like him a lot. He's got some potential. He definitely can shoot the rock and what have you. So I was pleased with that. But again, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to the American public, obviously, because of COVID-19. Last year was severely compromised, and I didn't see a lot of these guys. I watched the NCAA tournament. I certainly watched the Final Four. But the body of work that I've seen these guys, I'm not about to sit up here and even try to come across like I'm too knowledgeable about all of these guys. I know what their games are. I've seen some highlights of them. I watched Grimes. I watched Cade Cunningham as well, and what have you. And I've seen some of these guys, and I've based on what I've seen what they could do. Let me say this real quick about Cade Cunningham. I'm a fan. I love his game, but I just want to say this, and Max and Kendrick, please feel free to comment on that. This is the message that I want to send to all college kids out there. When they looked at Cade Cunningham, they said that there were times that he could have been more aggressive. That's all they said. They said all the tools are there, particularly him in pick and roll situations at 6'8" with his shooting ability or whatever. He could be a special talent. So we know the brother can play, and we wish him nothing but the best. And I got a lot of faith in him as well. I just want to make sure everybody understands this. When you play on the collegiate level specifically, or any level that's less than the NBA, if you play 30 games a year, and anyone ever questions your motor, that's a huge bad sign. Because the belief is on a collegiate level or any other level, you're not making the money that you're going to be making on the NBA level. There are less games, less taxing on your body. And so when you're in pursuit of that money and you're in pursuit of elevating your game to another level, Russell Westbrook is somebody you should idolize. Because you look at a guy like that and that motor and the way he comes at it every single night.
So you're not just talking about aggression. You're talking about energy.
You can't ever come across like there's an absence of energy, even at particular points.
Passion.
When you consider the fact that you're playing 30 some odd games and you're going to be playing.
That's a red flag for you?
That's always a red flag for me.
At number one overall.
Well, in any position, for a first round pick, we should never be questioning.
So you wouldn't. So would you take as a result? Cade?
I would have taken Cade Cunningham, but what I'm saying to you is that I really like this kid Green, though.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that again, I don't know, but they were saying.
Beware, antennas are up. It's concerning.
Sure.
Even with the talent.
Make sure you eradicate that.
I liked what a couple teams did, most of all Houston, and not just because they wound up with Green, but they wound up with Segun, the Turkish guy. No, have I seen Segun play? Only the highlights and what people say. But if you win MVP of the Turkish league when you're 18 and you're that size and you have that kind of agility and offensive touch, you're going to be pretty good at least. And they grabbed both those guys and an athletic defensive power forward, like who may have been a lottery. Like the Rockets did really well. I also like the fact that the Pistons got Isaiah Livers, Stephen A.
Yes,
like
out of Michigan.
He's a real good shooter and like a leader and from the area. I like that. And then also at the Nets picking up Cam Thomas. By the way, when I said they got the guy, you're watching the Knicks, you're like, Cam Thomas is still there.
That's the guy they should have got.
You want to grab, and the Nets got a guy who's going to be a sixth man walking into the gym. You would think he's not going to play with. He can score. Period. Yeah. And then the blogger kid, what's his name? Preston, Jason, who the Clippers picked up. They liked him. The rumor was before the draft, traded out of the first round, so they pick up some extra stuff and then grab him in the second round. And he's apparently got a lot of LaMelo Ball in him, right? The idea is a lanky, playmaking, high IQ guy. And think about what they had at the point guard position last year. Not a lot, the Clippers. They were playing Patrick Beverley there. This is a big upgrade, it seems to me.
Big Perk, what about you?
Well, let me say this. One, this is the most athletic draft in NBA history, and I'm going to tell you why. 41 guys at the NBA Combine tested for a 35-inch vertical leap or higher. One of those guys, in Keon Johnson, had a 48-inch vertical, which set the record. You had another big that went second round, Jericho Sims, out of Texas, who had a 44-inch vertical. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When you look at this draft from last night, this is one of the deepest, most talented drafts since 2003 and 1996. These young kids are going to be bona fide superstars, especially the top three, okay? When you look at Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Evan Mobley. And here's what I want to say about Cade Cunningham, Stephen A., to your point. When you look at Cade Cunningham, he played for the Team USA, the World Cup last year, and he was clearly the best player on the floor every single night. And he played with all those guys he was drafted with. That includes Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, all those guys. And he was the clear best player every single night on the floor. This is where I'm going to tell you who's the biggest winner in this year's draft. It's the Detroit Pistons. And then starting with Cade Cunningham. He's the most complete player since LeBron James. And here's why I say why. He has zero flaws offensively. He could take you on the low block. He knows how to utilize his size. His face-up game is mean. Reminds me of Grant Hill. He has the ball. His handle is unique. Has it on the string. His IQ is through the roof. His playmaking ability is some of the best I've ever seen for as a guy his age. And when we talk about athleticism, he don't have a 40-inch vertical, but he has like a 36-inch vertical. And when he gets on the fast break, look out, man. I mean, lights, camera, action. And he's mature. When you listen to his interviews, right? When you listen to his interviews, he talks about his young daughter. He talks about his leadership skills and how grown he is. And that was the thing that separated him and Jalen Green.
All right, hold on. Let me ask you this question. I'm not refuting any of that because you would know. I haven't been studying that stuff. But that's what they're saying. I'm not, let me be very, very clear. I've only seen Cade Cunningham like twice. I love his skill. I'm not questioning anything. What I'm saying is the folks who follow college basketball, that's what they were saying about him leading up to the draft. And are you saying that you didn't hear that? That Cade Cunningham, when we talked about his motor, because that's the only question that I heard about him. There were times that folks felt because he was that dude, because he was so skilled, it was just a matter of him going out there and taking it as opposed to coming across passive at times. Are you saying that you didn't hear that?
Well, the only thing that I heard, Stephen A., is that when he was at Oklahoma State, he didn't have the talent around him. So when when teams in college would actually play a boxing one defense or overemphasize stopping him and he would make plays, they would just not, others were not finishing around the basket or knocking down shots. But I'm going to tell you, look, the Detroit Pistons, they were torn between the two when it came down to Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green, right? And I think the separation was the leadership part of it. They were blown away by his interview, how mature he is. But when you go down the line, I love that they picked up Livers from Michigan. And also, by the way, in the late second round with the 52 pick, guess who they got? The college player of the year in college basketball. That's right. Big Garza out of Iowa. Troy Weaver did a hell of a job last night for the Detroit Pistons. And the future is bright when it comes down to Cade Cunningham and his Detroit Pistons and the pieces that they already have, especially a young killer like they have in the middle right now, Isaiah Stewart, that they drafted last year out of Washington.
Yeah, the Pistons
Absolutely.
and the Rockets.
Tides are turning. Getting back to those glory days, hopefully in a few years or so. What were you going to say, Max? Sorry.
The Pistons and the Rockets killed it, and the Rockets moved up to grab their guy, Sengun with the 14th.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Detroit again, they're downtown now. They're no longer at the Palace in Auburn Hills. They're gone from the Palace in Auburn. They're downtown Detroit, and I think I've heard there's a resurgence. I haven't been there in a couple of years or so, but I've heard there's a resurgence
downtown. Absolutely, new
hotels,
new restaurants.
Listen, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing because those fans, if you give them something to cheer, that's a big time fan base right there.
Detroit,
and of course I'm rooting for my brother Troy Weaver. So I'm glad that things are looking good for them right now.
Absolutely. All right, guys. NBA fans, we got a treat for you.
The NBA, what do you thought that?
I would say, why not?
Big ball on my way to a triple-double.
Westbrook's got his triple-double.
Triple-double. Triple-double.
Move over, hang up.
What he's doing is just electrifying. He just attacks everybody.
There's no player like myself.
He's made the triple-double look so easy.
This shit ain't easy, though. I'll tell you that.
History. Russell Westbrook has just surpassed Oscar Robertson.
Normally, I don't like to pat myself on the back, but tonight I will. I won't stop until I can't play no more.
Westbrook gives the Lakers a star-studded big three. LeBron, AD, and Westbrook have combined for 34 All-Star selections. They would be the second team to have a trio with that many, along with the 2011 Celtics, who featured Shaq, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce. It also gives the Lakers two of the best playmakers of all time. LeBron and Westbrook have combined for 283 career triple-doubles. Westbrook is the all-time leader in that category, while LeBron ranks fifth. Both players also have a scoring title and assist title under their belt. But then there's this question of how they'll fit, especially in terms of floor spacing. Westbrook shoots just over 30% from three in his career, something the Lakers ranked 21st in last season. But to be fair, LeBron won 2 titles with D. Wade, who shot worse than 30% from three in his career. The Nets remain the favorites to win the title next season, according to Caesars in Vegas, but the Lakers not far behind. After LA, it's the Bucks at plus 800, followed by Golden State. Now it is great to be joined by our friend TNT's Kenny the Jet Smith. Kenny, how we doing?
I'm doing great down here in Chapel Hill, as you see, at the Dean E. Smith Center. Out here enjoying myself and having a good summer.
Good. That's what we like to hear. We got so much to talk to you about, but we want to get your reaction to the major news. Obviously, the Russell Westbrook teaming up with LeBron and AD in LA. Your reaction?
Well, I think, we heard all the rumblings that they wanted to add another piece, the big three or whatever you want to call it. Russell Westbrook, obviously, what he does, not just on the scoring end, but in terms of the pace of the game. It allows LeBron to be a finisher a lot instead of always the facilitator. And so, running that break, you have LeBron on the wing instead of with the ball a lot of times now. That's going to be a difficult situation for a lot of teams to handle.
I feel you on that, Kenny. It's always good to see you, my brother. You know that. I feel you. I feel you on that. Here's where my reservation lies as it pertains to winning a championship, because I definitely think they'll be the Final Four in the NBA, but winning a championship. Couple of things. Number one, that pace of play you just alluded to. LeBron James is phenomenal of a conditioned athlete as he is. He's no young spring chicken any longer. And so that pace of play, that's not necessarily a guarantee in my estimation. That's number one. And number two, their perimeter shooting. Because we all know that when you talk about beating a Golden State, when you talk about beating the Clippers, when you're talking about beating the Nets potentially in an NBA Finals, you got to be able to shoot the rock, not just from the perimeter, but from the free throw line. And as I pointed out early in the show, LeBron James shot 69% from the free throw line last year. Russell Westbrook shot 65%. Kyrie was at 92. James Harden's at 86. KD was at around 87, 88. Those things matter. What do you say to that?
I'd say the one thing that, for perimeter shooting, I thought I was a good shooter until I got to Houston. I became a great shooter because you go to Houston and you get an extra second because they're double teaming great players. And so when you're playing with a guy like LeBron and Russell and AD, if you're a good shooter, you become great because now you're going to be left open. It was the first time in my life, Steven and guys, that I was left open. So there are certain guys who probably had never been left open that long that will have, opportunities. If you think of guys like P.J. Tucker when he was in Houston and even this year, they get shots and they get an extra second to think about it and to really set their feet. So that actually makes you a better shooter playing with those guys who are maybe a marginal guy who comes in and say he can knock down shots. Then all of a sudden he comes there and he said, man, he's a prolific three-point shooter. It's because you got extra time.
Kenny, let's say they get 2 pure shooters to round out the starting 5, right? Because they still got the sign and trade rights for Schroeder, and they have Talen Horton-Tucker. They have some stuff that may not work on this team, but other teams might be interested in. I look at the Nets. The difference is offensively, all 3 of their big 3 are, for their size, among the greatest scorers ever from anywhere, right? That's not the Lakers. But if the Lakers round out the starting 5 with a couple of pure shooters, is that enough, or does the shooting need to be distributed better among the guys who are going to touch the ball as the most, like Westbrook and LeBron and AD? Does that give the Nets an advantage if they should meet in the finals?
Are we already negating the fact that the Milwaukee Bucks won the
Yeah, because they only won because the Nets got hurt. Come on, Kenny.
Think that they're going to be back anywhere? I just feel that, there's a lot of things that you could say in terms of talent. If you look on paper, those 2 teams have, some talent, but they're most talented roster assembled. However, like we said, they're not in there. This is not Russell Westbrook 8 years ago. This is not LeBron 8 years ago. This is not, even pre-injury for Kevin Durant. Like, if Kevin Durant is in the Olympics 5 years ago, they don't lose a game. Like, he could take over all of those games. So this is not the same kind of guys. And, youthfulness, energy, playing together, that means something. So I wouldn't just hand those 2 teams, the East and the West, at all. I think that they're going to have to work for it. They have to stay injury free. They're going to be playing that saving him for this game, and that gets you out of rhythm. And I thought that got the Lakers out of rhythm this year, and we'll see if it doesn't do it this next year.
Russell Westbrook, Kenny Smith, 4th team in 4 years. Teammates: Kevin Durant, Reggie Jackson, Serge Ibaka, Victor Oladipo, Paul George, James Harden again, Bradley Beal. No championship to show for it. And now he's got LeBron James and Anthony Davis as his teammate. At the start of this show, I talked about how, because he's so phenomenal and because he's a surefire first ballot future Hall of Famer, all of those things taken into consideration, he will never be under more pressure than he will be this year. He won't care, but that's the situation. Am I right or wrong about that?
Well, I don't think not having a championship dampens your legacy, but it definitely adds to it. Like, it definitely adds to it. The reason I'm on TNT and sitting here with you at ESPN right now is because I won 2 championships. I have a perspective that's going to be different and that has a finality to it. So, yes, winning a championship for Russell Westbrook, does it help his career? Yes. Does it dampen it if he doesn't? No, he's done enough individually. But it makes him, when you walk around with that championship, that C on your left shoulder, like, that's a different perspective.
But Kenny,
and a different thought process.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, coming into this season, I don't know of anybody who'll be under more pressure than him because of those things I outlined. What do you say to that?
Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
I say the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are, because you assemble this roster, then it wasn't healthy. You come back, you got to win it. You got to be in the finals. You got to be there, because to me, then it's like, is this really what we should have done? And are we going to, are these guys going to stay hurt? Are they going to be healthy enough? Are they going to be cohesive enough? And to me, the Brooklyn Nets is just as much pressure as Russell Westbrook. And as a team, they probably have more pressure than any team to win a championship.
Kenny, Clippers president of basketball operations Lawrence Frank, of course, said Kawhi, after having major surgery for the ACL tear, he wants to have Kawhi remain a Clipper a long time. Your reaction?
I mean, you went all in 2 years ago, So when you go all in, there is no plan B. Like there is no plan B. The eggs were in all baskets. You know, Lawrence understands that. I think the ownership understands that. They can't allow him to walk. They have to be 100% behind him in his injury, and they have to say this guy could come back and do it again because he's already come back from injury and played at an All-Star and MVP level. But they went all in 2 years ago when they signed both of those guys in the free agency. So you can't turn back now. There's no turning back now, brother.
Kenny, let me say this. I know Kawhi's a two-time champion, but while I got you on the show, let me also reiterate a position that I've echoed in the past. I have no problem recognizing Kawhi Leonard as one of the top 5 players, and the brother is just big time. There's no denying that. He's a two-time champion. We get that. But, Kenny, I got serious doubts as to whether or not I would want to invest with him long-term. You talk about a 1 or 2 year deal, that's different. But long-term, speak to us a second about culture in the sport of basketball. When you instigate load management, when you play when you want to play, practice when you want to practice, and you're injury prone, how can that build the proper culture for you, particularly if you're the Los Angeles Clippers? What do you say to that?
Well, they're handcuffed. They handcuffed themselves only because he won a championship doing that in Toronto. He was load management, coming in and out, practicing at certain times, sitting out games, and he won a championship, and he was healthy down the stretch. Then, if you say, I'm going to only offer you a 1 or 2 year deal, a 3 year deal, there's 20 other teams that would clear cap space and say, I'll take that chance, including a team in the same building, probably. We'll say, we'll take that chance. You know, I think that they put themselves in a position that he's won that way. If he had played at Toronto and they didn't win, then you could be like, well, hey, God, we gotta step back. We gotta give you like 3 year deal. We gotta see if you could practice. But since he's done it, and he's done it at the high level, and won the championship doing it, I think you're handcuffed to say this is the way it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Kenny, they left the good stuff for me, paying it forward. Tell us more about the Jet Academy. We talked to you about it when you launched it. We were pandemic, July 2020. What's going on with that?
6,000 members, virtual basketball instruction. You get the best. That's what we're doing here. That's why I'm here at Dean Smith Center in North Carolina.
Nice.
We're filming. We just filming 6 Man of the Year, Jordan Clarkson. Got Draymond Green, C.J. McCollum, and you get just personal one-on-one learning how to play the game. There's a lot of great trainers, but these guys tell you when to do stuff. Why? There's a difference between just doing a drill. So if you go to thejetacademy.com, again, thejetacademy.com, sign up. Don't be a scrub this year. Don't come back after all of the pandemic in this summer and come back to your high school, your middle school, and be a scrub.
Coach is like, what have you been doing the last 2 years?
Kenny,
just put on COVID pounds.
Kenny, I got news for you, man. I got breaking news for you. I might become a member, man. I fix my knees up, bro. I might come to the Jet Academy. I might do that. I might do that, Kenny. I might do that. I'm trying to get back out there.
I will say, Stephen A. always had a jump shot. He couldn't move and shoot, but he could shoot.
Kenny.
I'm coming back.
Kenny, always a good time. Always a good time. Thank you so much for being with us. Have fun.
All right, man.
All right, thank you. All right, guys.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Give Brother Vincent my...
I just want to let that breathe for a minute because that's exceptional. Former Cowboys fan Kendrick Perkins here with us now.
I just want to say this. If y'all don't mind, I'd like to interrupt by saying
do whatever you want.
Max Kellerman, Molly, and of course my man Kendrick Perkins. You know, I expect those Cowboys to not disappoint me. You understand, the beat that had that black cat running around this franchise. You know, I gave them the new nickname, Perkins. I gave them the name Christmas because they're the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to me. Every chance, every time, they in the last 25 years, they just haven't let me down.
Happens right around Christmas,
and you know how I like to troll them. I'm trying to tell y'all right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off. But, boy, do I got some plans for them this upcoming season. I mean, I got some stuff. It's going to involve law enforcement officials. I'm going to try to get it to involve some cheerleaders. I'm going to try. A matter of fact, be making a few appearances to Texas. I'm going to show up to Texas, okay? You know, so I'm so confident that the Cowboys will let me down, all right? That the Cowboys will let y'all down. They're going to make me happy. They'll let y'all down. I'm trying to tell you right now, I think I'm going to show up, and you remember that spot that we hit in Texas where we did the show first from and stuff like that? I'm going to show up there on a Sunday to watch Cowboy games with those fans. I don't know which Sunday it's going to be, but I'm going to make sure.
Doesn't Michael Irvin have a place up the block now?
I'm going to show up to his place, too. Darren Woodson, our brother, our former colleague here at ESPN. I miss you, brother. I love you to death, man. But I'm going to call him up because I'm not letting any of these Cowboy fans escape. I see everybody sticking out their chest, acting like this is going to be a good year. This is going to be a big-time year for the Cowboys. Y'all are all playing right into my hands. I love it. Oh, I got some plans.
He's not lying.
I got some plans for some Cowboy fans this year. Oh, you wait, Molly. You wait.
Oh, boy. We need the travel restrictions back on Stephen A. All right, Big Perk, tell me this, because Stephen A is going to like this.
With the stars.
You were a Cowboys fan not long ago, and then what happened? You are from Texas, right?
Yeah, I am from Texas, Molly, and there's so much right now that I'm trying to, absorb right now from watching Michael Irvin 2 years ago on that clip. Stephen A. getting under his skin, and Michael Irvin, that's my guy, but he was sweating like somebody was chasing him. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is this. Okay, look, when I go to sleep at night, I sleep well. Okay, AC on 60. A box fan that I get from Walgreens blowing in my face, and I go straight into hibernation mode like a big grizzly bear. I mean, I knocks the hell out. Well, Molly, I got tired of losing sleep. Tired of losing sleep behind the Cowboys. I've been a Cowboys fan. The reason that I was a Cowboys fan from day one, because of Jimmy Johnson. You know where Jimmy Johnson is from, Molly? He's from the 409 area, the Golden Triangle, Port Arthur, Beaumont, Texas. Port Arthur is where my wife is from. When I used to go pick her up, I had to exit Jimmy Johnson Boulevard. Those were the glory days, okay? So it's no more glory days. When they got rid of Jimmy Johnson, the glory days went out the window. I got tired of losing sleep. I got tired of being harassed. So with that being said, I like to have my peace. So I decided to end my relationship with the Cowboys 2 years ago. One, because I got tired of listening to Stephen A. I got tired of listening to Max. And Molly, also, look, and you know how, man, you cool. But I got tired of you even chuckling and chiming in here and there. So look, I'm tired of the Cowboys, and I don't give a damn about them. I don't care what they do this year. I don't care if they make noise, Dak Prescott throw for 500 yards. I don't give a damn. I'm not a Cowboys fan.
He's a Cardinals fan now.
Oh, no, when Stephen A's done with this segment, you might have to turn that AC down to 58 if it goes that low.
Yeah. I hear what he's saying. He's saying they broke his heart, but, really, it's really, it's about karma, too, because if you had put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor, maybe this wouldn't be happening.
How do they keep Jimmy Johnson out of the Ring of Honor? Think about that.
Maybe this wouldn't be happening to you at all. So, I do understand.
It's a jinx.
I do understand.
All right. I got to cut it short. Sorry, guys. Got a heart out here. Perk, you'll be back with us. Madden's top 10 quarterback rankings will reveal week all across ESPN. And all week, we're helping unveil the highly debated player ratings in the popular video game Madden NFL 22. Today, we're breaking down the top 10 quarterbacks. This should be exciting. Take a look at the list, y'all. Mahomes coming in at number 1. He got a 99. Then Tommy Brady, 97. Rodgers after Tom Brady with 96, and then you can see Russ and Lamar. So we'd like to welcome in a very familiar face, one of the most prolific winners in NFL history, a 3-time Pro Bowler, a former Comeback Player of the Year, Alex Smith. Alex, thank you so much for being with us.
Molly, thanks for having me.
Of course. And let me just say this. Your whole story and how you came back was extremely inspirational. And I'm not just saying that to be nice, like just seeing the specials and all that you went through, really inspiring. So just huge kudos to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But now, before we jump into it, how's retirement treating you? Are you liking it? It seems like you're still busy.
It's good. I'm still getting used to that word. And I think here we're coming up on the fall. This will be the first fall in 25 plus years that I have not been in a training camp. So I'm excited. Obviously, I think there will be mixed feelings and mixed emotions. I think that's only to be expected. But I'm also excited to spend a bunch of time with my wife and kids. I've put them through a lot. They have sacrificed so much over the years, and so excited to see what's next.
Yeah,
Alex, Alex, Stephen A. here, man. Thank you for being on the show. And I just want to say, when I think about emotion, I got a different kind of emotion a lot of times. But one of the soft spots that hit me was when you returned to the field and I saw your wife and kids in the stands. That was one of the most beautiful scenes that I've ever seen, to be quite honest with you, watching a football game. And I want to ask you, now that you've retired, after that horrific injury, could you explain to us why you decided to come back in the first place, considering the fact that you've now elected to retire?
Absolutely. I think it's because, for me, the last 6 months here since the season's ended, I honestly feel like I have zero limitations. I don't think there's anything out there mentally for me and physically that I can't go attempt to try and do. I have to adapt. I'm going to have to adapt the rest of my life because of what happened to me. But I don't feel like I have any mental limitations, and that's an amazing feeling because throughout my recovery process, Stephen, I built up a lot of walls about the things I would never be able to do again, about the things that I had lost forever. And football was the vehicle that helped me get them back, and I'm so thankful for everybody, the numerous people throughout my journey that helped me get back, teammates included, but most of all, my wife and kids. My wife has bore the brunt of, obviously, everything that we've been through in my career, most of all, obviously, the last couple of years of my injury. So she deserves a break. And again, I'm so thankful that she helped me do what I did, because we did it together. And again, like I said, I don't feel like I have any limitations. Sorry, Matt.
That's beautiful.
No, Alex, you're an easy guy to root for, and it's great to have you on the show. You're an easy guy to root for even before the injury, from when it was like he got taken number 1 overall, and then you had a different offensive coordinator, different situation every year, and it's finally, as soon as you got some stability, you started to show what you could do. So you were easy to root for even before then. I want to get to the Madden stuff, though. These
ratings.
Let's start with the guy who held the clipboard and learned under you, and that's Patrick Mahomes, who's a 99. I get it. To my eye, that's the best I've ever seen. But Aaron Rodgers is like, if Mahomes is 1, then Rodgers is 1A, or if he's 1A, then he's 1B. And he was the reigning MVP. And Tom Brady is the GOAT, won 7 Super Bowls, and he's the reigning Super Bowl champ. How does Brady wind up at 97? And even worse to me is Rodgers at 96.
Max, I think you hit the nail on the head. This was the first thing that jumped out to me on the list. This is the easiest adjustment on there. Without a doubt, obviously, Patrick has set the bar. He's in the prime of his career. I think I'm not sure we still see the ceiling of what he can do. He's doing things that just haven't been done in this league ever. But then you take, like you said, Aaron, I don't know how you take the reigning MVP, arguably one of the greatest statistical quarterbacks of all time, a generational talent, who is coming off one of the greatest quarterback seasons ever, and you give him a 96. So for me, that jumped right off the list. And then you said it, the great outlier, Tom Brady. He's won more Super Bowls than any NFL franchise. I mean, by himself. I mean, this is going on 7. I understand that he's turning 44 this year. I still think we can't put him in a box. I mean, he's continued, I think, to defy the aging process, and every year I think this is the year Tom's he's gonna decline, and he continues to obviously contradict that. So those 3, I don't know how you would put one ahead of the other. In my mind, they're all 99s.
When I watch these quarterbacks play, particularly in this day and age, Alex, I think about Drew Brees and how exceptional he looked before he retired. I think about Tom Brady, how exceptional he continues to look. But it also feels like guys like that are basically holding, they've got the folks that look at traditional quarterbacks and are holding on to them for dear life, because Lamar Jackson is not traditional, not with his running ability. Patrick Mahomes is not traditional because we see all the things that he could do with his feet. He was running for his life. They said he ran for about 400 yards in the Super Bowl, that was scrambling for his life against Tampa. We know that Aaron Rodgers, as beautiful of a passer as he is, he can scramble with the football as well. When you look at the quarterback position in today's day and age, Do you see that the ability to be mobile is just a plus, or is it an absolute necessity and a requirement to succeed in the NFL in this day and age? Obviously, with the exception of the Tom Brady's of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a requirement. I think we've seen progress in the position. I think we've seen progress in the NFL. I don't think you have to look too far back. 20 years ago, a guy like Lamar maybe wasn't going to get an opportunity. This was the, quote unquote, could he be a pro style quarterback? I think that has come and gone, and thank God. I think we're seeing guys playing the position that have tool sets that are vast, and we're seeing offenses and coaches that are putting them to use. And I think it's amazing to see in the NFL, to see that progress. I think quarterback position was kind of the last bastion, really hold out a little bit of that kind of archaic mentality. And it's been amazing to watch these young guys come in and that are really running an extension of a lot of times the offenses that they ran in college. So in my mind, this is one of the best times in history for quarterbacking, to see a guy like Patrick, Kyler, Josh Allen come in with the tool sets they have, get to do it their own way, and have that opportunity.
Alex, sorry to jump you, but speaking of doing it their own way, what did you think of Aaron Rodgers' press conference the other day? Because we were all riveted 30 minutes, and it felt cathartic, just hearing him so raw and real. But you playing the position at such a high level for such a long time, what did you think of that?
I absolutely loved it. I think it was one of the most rare scenes we've seen in football. Yeah. Here's a guy who's been out of the picture for the last 6 months, and we've been debating everything that's been going on. What were the facts? The he said, she said, what was going on, and to finally get Aaron back and to him be that candid and honest and articulate about why we're here. And I thought it was fascinating. Like I said, this is a generational talent, the reigning MVP. And from the outside, this has been one of the most successful organizations the last 30 plus years. And to see obviously that not so, and that there have been some problems going on. And I think to hear him detail that out in that setting was obviously very unique. And I thought it was fascinating to watch.
Yeah. Powerful for sure. All right. So, Alex, if you do get bored during your retirement, so to speak, come join us anytime. Football season's about to start. Come chop it up with us. We'd love to have you. So just know that invite's always there. And thank you so much for being with us.
That. Thank you.
And again, you guys up on so inspiring, besides loving watching you play in the field.
And Alex, by the way, if you want to, you can bring the kids, because Stevie A loves kids. He sure does.
He does.
I'm there. We're there.
Yes. All right. Take care, Alex. Tonight, the grand finale of Madden Ratings Reveal Week, a 1-hour primetime special. Chad Johnson, Marshawn Lynch, many of the NFL's current stars join the show to break down ratings in this year's game. Don't miss all the action, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight on ESPN. What a good guy. The Brody joins the Brown and Braun in LA next season. Get your popcorn ready. Big Perks thoughts. As we discussed earlier in the show, the Lakers make the big move to bring Russell Westbrook. My goodness, going back to Cali, purple and gold. Let's get it, Big Perk. Talk to me. What's the impact?
Oh, look, Molly, listen, Laker Nation need to stand up right now. You know why? Because they're moving on up like the Jeffersons right now. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's lit right now in L.A. Russell Westbrook makes them the clear-cut favorites to come out of the Western Conference Finals. Western Conference. Let's make no mistake about it, right? And then you just got to go add a few pieces, some shooting, things to that nature. But look, you got David Fizdale over there, who was with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade when those guys were punishing people on the low block and learning how to cut and slash and play off of one another, getting out in transition. We'll see that happening. And by the way, they have the best player development coach in the game, and Phil Handy, that hasn't got his chance to put his hands on Russell Westbrook. Once he get Russell Westbrook in his space and in his area, he's going to correct that jump shot of his. I'm not saying he's going to come back shooting like, I was going to say Joe Harris, but I don't want to say Joe Harris because the way he was shot last year in the postseason. but he's not going to come back shooting like Steph Curry. But I guarantee you, Russell Westbrook, a guy that has been to the finals, he knows what it takes. When as a youngster is going to come back on a mission, he's going to put that key in Anthony Davis back where he can't take those possessions off. He's going to bring the best out of Anthony Davis. Laker Nation stand up. Magic Johnson is happy. Jenny Buss is happy. Everybody is happy, and as they should be, because the Lakers are the real deal.
Well, you and I see this exactly alike, Perk. They're not going to beat the Warriors. They're not going to beat the Nets yet. If you have to say who you like in that series, if everyone's healthy, it's still the Nets. But let's see what else the Lakers do. Let's see how they round out the roster. I'll say that I totally agree. People are over-concerned about fit and not just looking at what Westbrook brings to the team, which is a whole lot. And here's the thing I'm going to say, Stephen A., and I'm going to give it to you. The Lakers did this for a bunch of spare parts. I'm not saying they weren't useful. Montrezl Harrell, 6th man of the year type guy, like not a modern power forward, but like more of an old school power forward. KCP, maybe a starter on some teams, certainly a rotation piece. Kyle Kuzma, he is what he is. He's okay. He's an NBA player, also a rotation piece, really inconsistent. Those are spare parts. You can find guys like that every year in the offseason. You turned that into Russell Westbrook? My hat's off to you. Into Russell Westbrook? Let's not forget, every year, he's on a new team with new teammates. First half, he doesn't look so great. Second half of the year, he's an MVP candidate. Every single year. He's an MVP candidate in the second half. That is an amazing job the Lakers just did.
He's an MVP candidate. He is a future Hall of Famer. He is box office. He is a superstar talent in this game. And when it is all over, we will chronicle him throwing all of those laudables in his direction because he will have deserved it. We will miss him when he's gone. But while he's here, like I tell everybody, obviously I'm a soap opera fan.
You're a soap opera star. Don't bury the lead, okay? You're not a fan. You're actually have a recurring. You have a role on it.
I defer to my brother like Eric Braden, who plays Victor Newman on Young and the Restless. I'll see you in a few days, buddy.
I hate gassing you up. You have a role.
Maurice Bernard, General Hospital, star of General Hospital. I'm just in their world. I'm just trying, as Kendrick Perkins would say, I'm just trying to get a
Yeah, right. We're all in Stephen A's world. Isn't that a show on television?
Let me say this to you. It is a show on television. Let me say this to you. This is the part where it gets uncomfortable, more so for Perk than for Max, but I disagree with Max and Perk in this regard. Russell Westbrook is under immense pressure. I said that earlier. Said it to Kendrick Perkins on Get Up. I said it to you at the start of the show. I have in front of me the LA Times and the title of a column by the great Bill Plaschke, the voice of LA. What does it say? Would you like me to tell you the headline, Max and Kendrick Perkins? The headline, column. Russell Westbrook is welcomed home if he puts his new Lakers teammates first. You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm saying? There is a narrative that exists. It wasn't created by me. It wasn't created. This is what they're saying, though, Max. When Kevin Durant and Ibaka and Reggie Jackson and Victor Oladipo and James Harden twice, not just once, and Paul George and Bradley Beal are your teammates. Somehow, some way, you're going to be held accountable because of your greatness. Not because you're a scrub, because you're a greatness. When I ruffled feathers about Russell Westbrook, it's because I was saying, he's so great, I don't want to see you home in the first round. I want to see you deep into the playoffs. I want to watch you against the stiff competition. I want you right where you just landed, competing for a championship. Russell Westbrook was on the record. Yo, I'm going to do me. You understand? When we questioned how come Kevin Durant wasn't getting more shots. Russell Westbrook was on the record in Houston. Yo, I don't want to be here with James Harden. I ain't some damn sidekick. I want to play the way that I want to play. Russell Westbrook wanted to leave Houston because he wanted to play his way. Russell Westbrook wanted out of Washington, D.C. And before he departed, what did he say? Remember that say? When he came back? Championships don't mean that much to me. Yeah. I've seen plenty of champions that are less happier than me. A Los Angeles Lakers franchise, what are they synonymous with, Max and Perk?
Championships.
Yeah.
You don't get to have that attitude in L.A.
Stephen A., we're going to have much more on this on the coming weeks, but we got to talk about last night a little bit because I need your help.
I am the great. You seen the making of a star, they hear my name and remember me. I swear I am am afraid. Just let the record show that I said I'm coming for everything. I am the prince. You seen the making of a star, they hear my name and remember me. I said I am the prince. Just let the record show that I said I'm coming for everything. Everything, everything, everything.
All right, the NBA and fashion synonymous. That might have been the best draft class we've had in a long time, guys, from Jalen Green to Mobley to Davion Mitchell. Some of the best looks. So it got me thinking about past draft fashion, and it's time for a little Molly's deal. So please indulge me. I want you to weigh in on some of these suits. Look number one, gentlemen. I'm taking you back to the early 2000s, the 90s. Can we get a tailor? Can we just talk about this for a minute? How big everyone's clothes were?
But Drew Gooden, that's not how big it is. That's like a zip-up. What's he doing with a zip-up?
I don't know. And then Amari's is kind of like tailored in the stomach, and then it's just out of control. Like, God forbid you ever stepped in a puddle. Stephen A., do you prefer that, the oversized, or would you rather the super slim fit where you could see someone's keys in their pocket?
I don't want the super slim fit either. I like the happy medium, but I can't front. I used to wear those baggy suits until Dwayne Wade had a fashion event in New York City and called me out in front of fashionistas and fashion experts. And he said, look at that man right there, and called out my baggy outfit and said, you could fit 3 legs in it.
You're from Queens. That was the style, though. He stepped your game up. Okay,
total betrayal by Dwayne Wade.
Monochromatic suits. Okay, huge fan of monochromatic suits. Clearly, I'm basically wearing the same outfit as LeBron James right now. Lonzo Ball, also looking clean. Guys, we're going to choose your own adventure here. I got to rip through these. If you had to pick one of these 3 suits, Kendrick Perkins, you're up first. Are you going Bol Bol, Rakeem Christmas, or Karis LeVert?
You know what? I'm going with Karis LeVert. I like the swag. I like the combination. You know what I mean? The blue with the yellow with the black with the tie clip. That's kind of my swag. He did a little something, but he wasn't doing too much. I don't know what the hell Bol Bol was doing.
He's ready for a Halloween party.
And listen, the young fella in the middle looked like he got a curtain on, okay? I don't know if there's a curtain. I would go
with Karis LeVert as well, and I'd simply lie that I'm going to Michigan.
Yeah.
I'd wear that outfit and say I'm representing the University of Michigan. That's what I would do.
Here was my favorite from back in the day. I'm going to go Maurice Taylor. I like the color. I like the seafoam. It pops. I like the gold details. I'm into it. What? Max is next.
Go ahead, Max.
Max, you're next.
No, go.
No, you have one.
Oh, there it is.
I know I like that, Stephen A.
Look at that.
Because it's so plain.
You know what's crazy?
So Max loved it.
He wore his bar mitzvah outfit to the draft for some reason.
That is not what's on my mind.
No, Stephen A.
What's on my mind was what we saw on National Network television last night.
What?
The jump show, Lord have mercy.
Jalen Anthony Rose, straight out of Detroit, Michigan. Is that Detroit or what right there?
Yeah.
Brave. That's the word that came to my mind. Brave. I'll leave the comment about
it. He's a leader. He's not a follower.
How did you feel about that?
Do you remember his draft night suit?
Yes.
That was fresh on draft night. He grew up in Detroit in the 80s.
Molly, how did you feel about that outfit last night, Molly? How did you feel about that outfit?
You know what? I like that he embraced fashion. You know what I mean? I like what Dwayne Wade said about he embraced fashion.
Mazel tov on the bar mitzvah there first.
That's love right there. That's love.